This is Steven here from your product management team, and I'm here to talk to you about some common issues that a number of our customers have with OnX resin. We're going to start by talking about a few common print failures that we see with OnX. And the first of those print failures is attachment layer issues. So here you can see that we printed the first few layers fine. You can see the supports, the start of the supports look good, but then nothing printed. And if you look at the inside of the tank, you can see that kind of the silhouette of the part, the outline of your final part printed, but you just see a flattened version that's there at the bottom of the tank. This is particularly common with Pro S printers, and the easy solution to this is updating your rayware, updating your print OS, and generally that'll solve the issue. I also want to talk to you about how you remove these failed prints from the platform. So you never want to use the print scraper removal tool. This is liable to damage your tank, and we don't want to do that. We want to preserve your tank. So instead, you want to start off using either your fingernails or any card, business card, credit card, anything works. So in order to do this, just reach your hand into the tank. If you can remove it with a fingernail, that does the job. Or if it's a trickier to remove piece, if it's an older tank that adheres more, just use your card to remove that. The second category of print failure we're going to talk about is a partial print. So here you can see it looks like a piece of the print fractured out and is just missing from your final printed part. And in order to understand how this happens, to avoid this happening in your prints, it helps to understand the root cause. So the early layers of your printed part are very fragile, very thin, and it's easy for those to break, particularly with a very rigid resin like OnX. The high ceramic content of OnX makes it very rigid, but also brittle when you have thin layers. So if your part is under-supported, or if you're using an old worn tank, it's easy to form cracks in the beginning layers that propagate up through the entire model. In order to avoid these partial prints, it helps to use more supports, denser supports, or to replace an old worn tank if you're using an older tank. And the third category of print failure we're going to talk about is issues with delamination and flashing in your print. So there are a couple of potential causes for this. The first, easiest to address, is smudges in your optical path, either on the glass of your printer or on the glass on the base of your tank. And in order to fix this, just use Windex to get a streak-free finish on those glass surfaces, and that can solve this issue. This can also be caused by debris inside of your tank. So if there's debris inside of your tank with OnX resin, we do not recommend filtering it. Instead, we recommend using a gloved hand to meticulously sift through it, try to remove that small particulate. It can help to use your wiper tool, but again, we do not recommend using a filter to filter out particulate due to the high ceramic content. Here we're going to focus on utilizing proper post-processing technique with OnX resin to ensure good quality fit between your hybrid dentures and your replica cast. Here I've got a replica cast with 6 implant abutments that I can use to test the quality of fit with my OnX printed hybrid denture. You can see with good quality fit, you get very tight fit at each of the implant abutments with no visible gap. Whereas if I show you a part that utilized poor post-processing technique that has a bad quality fit, we can see gaps at each of those implant abutments. So in order to post-process your part, we'll start with removing the part from the print platform. And you can see with any other printed part, you brace your build platform against a flat surface and use your print removal tool to scrape it off. So once you've removed your printed part from the print platform and removed the supports with your flush cutters, the next step is to use a combination of isopropyl alcohol, compressed air, and brushes and micro applicators to remove any residual material from the print before you cure it. So there are two different methods I'm going to talk about for doing this washing process. The first just uses a spray bottle, and that's good for doing 1 or 2 printed OnX hybrid dentures, but if you have a larger number that you're going to do, I recommend using a IPA bath to wash the part, which I'll show you second. So with this method, we start off with the part with IPA, and we'll alternate between spraying, brushing, and then using compressed air to clean the part. And you want to make sure not to expose to IPA for too long. More than about 1 minute or 90 seconds of exposure to IPA can result in a chalky appearance on your final printed part. And here I'm working 1 screw channel at a time, making sure to get each screw channel with the micro applicator. And I like to quickly rotate through about 3 times just to make sure I get every surface thoroughly with IPA. But keep in mind that exposing this to IPA for too long, longer than a minute and a half, can result in that chalky white appearance. And you can test this on your replica cast to check for quality of fit before you cure it. And you can see that we've thoroughly cleaned all the screw channels and get good seating against all of our implant abutments. If you need to clean multiple hybrid dentures, then my preferred method involves submerging the parts that you're cleaning inside a bowl of IPA. In order to do this, we need our bowl. I like using this Pyrex bowl so you can see from the outside. And you really don't need very much IPA in there. I have maybe a 1/4 inch. And we'll take our hybrid denture part with supports removed and submerge it. Then we'll alternate again between brushing, cleaning out the screw holes with micro applicators, and spraying with compressed air. So again, we want to try to limit exposure to IPA to 1 or 1.5 minutes to avoid that chalky appearance on the outside, which means you want to really quickly cycle through all these steps. Alright. And after we've brushed all the screw channels multiple times, brushed the outside, thoroughly cleaned it in IPA, then we spray it clean. should have a good quality fit here. As you can see, no gaps at any of the implant abutments. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm Steve from the SprintRay product management team, and I hope this helped with your OnX fitment issues. Thank you.